Happy birthday to Lost World Jurassic Park. Ah, yes. Good old Jurassic Park 2, I guess you can call it. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, The Lost World Jurassic Park is a 1997, I believe? Something like that. Movie that was produced or should I say, directed by Steven Spielberg, and was released after the huge commercial and critical success of the first film. And I have to say, I love it. I always have loved The Lost World. Actually, that's a lie. There was a time period where I didn't. The Lost World has a certain bit of nostalgia and importance to me. And obviously, a film can't just be considered good because you are nostalgic for it or whatever. I know that way too well. But at the same time, it's still an enjoyable movie. It's a really, really good film, despite a lot of people at face value questioning certain things, not understanding various aspects of it that should be appreciated. A lot of normies are going to look at it and say, oh, this and that, and oh, yeah, that and that. It basically suffers a lot from the whole Fallen Kingdom thing, though I'd say not quite as terribly, though. Even though The Lost World is a lot older, it didn't get as much undeserved backlash as Fallen Kingdom did, which I've already discussed before, but hopefully in my video that comes out eventually on Fallen Kingdom, I'll address some more stuff about that. But until then, though, I absolutely adore The Lost World for so many reasons. First of all, my first ever memory, I believe, of anything related to Jurassic Park was this movie. My mom works with someone named Kathy, and she's like a close relative, I guess, of us. And we're good friends with them, and I believe many, many years ago when I was quite young, in this little room that they have, where you have like this couch and a little TV with a VHS player, I think there was a Lost World one, and I must have been watching a clip, and I believe I remember watching the little scene where the T Rex is wandering through the neighborhood and everything like that. Uh, Good old times. And I believe that was the earliest memory I've ever had of Jurassic Park, because back then in the day, I didn't know much of Jurassic Park other than finding it scary because, well, dinosaurs attacking people, of course. And I didn't even really think of the first movie. But my earliest memory of the first film, though, was this one time where I was looking on the TV and I found Jurassic Park, and I believe I must have seen it at least some time before, and it obviously wasn't the first time, but it's the earliest moment I can think of, though, at face value. I remember telling Dad, "Hey, Jurassic Park is on," and I went back into the living room, and I see the T Rex eating the goat, and I'm looking down, and I'm kind of hiding behind the chair, watching a little bit. Ah, man, Jurassic Park really does mean a lot to me, and I feel like I don't show that enough, but it's mostly just because of the whole spoilers thing that I've brought up many times before. If I even look up some Jurassic Park stuff, there's going to be stuff about the third Jurassic World film popping up, and that'll lead to spoilers, and yada yada, you get the chain already. And The Lost World itself is basically about character in the previous film, Jeff Goldblum, I'm sorry, Ian Malcolm, played by Jeff Goldblum, being, I guess you could say, hired, consulted, whatever the word is, by Hammond to go and observe the dinosaurs on a previous island in order to make sure that, they're protected from being plundered and possibly killed and exposed to the world as monsters and stuff like that. And he obviously goes on this journey not for this whole dinosaur crap, but rather to rescue his girlfriend who had already gone there beforehand to document the wildlife. Not because Hammond kidnapped her and put her on the island, as certain people would say. You know who I'm talking about. I think you know who Mayor with Lightning Bolt is supposed to represent. Anyways, what was I talking about? Yeah, he's joined by other characters who are also very enjoyable. And they go on this adventure on Isla Sorna. And man, so many scenes are incredibly memorable. From the raptors attacking to the T-Rex again invading San Diego, and all the scenes that are involving that, from the poor dog to the kid taking a picture from his bedroom. Man, that must be so surreal for all the kids thinking, wow, imagine a T-Rex from Jurassic Park being outside my bedroom window, and then there it is in the sequel. How awesome is that? And other great things like the raptors stalking the hunters through the field, or the planned Pteranodon cliff scene that was scrapped. I don't think any like recordings or footage or anything was taken of that because it was just kind of a scrapped idea. And obviously the T-Rex is attacking the camp, and the T-Rex is pushing the trailers off of the cliff, and our main character is sabotaging the hunters group and freeing all the dinosaurs, which Again, it was more so due to um, what was his name? The guy, Vince Vaughn. That guy. Yeah, what's his face? It was more so due to him that he brought the T-Rex to the trailers and stuff like that. It was all his fault for the most part. While Sarah kind of helped out with the whole freeing the dinosaurs earlier, but was clearly against the idea of bringing the T-Rex to the trailers, but still helped out because she's, well, obviously a person who cares about wildlife, clearly. But at the same time, it's clearly showcased that they're not, the smartest people around, with them making the terrible mistake of Sarah leaving the blood on her jacket, or that look of Vince Vaughn's character's face when he realizes that the T-Rex has been captured. That kind of stuff. Setup and payoff. If your main characters are going to do something stupid, you might as well have their attempts at doing stuff be confronted as, hey, you're doing the wrong thing, or having their plans getting shut down. And that's what happens in this film. And at the same time, so many people out there constantly are saying, oh, these are terrible characters, you deserve to be shot. Obviously quoting a certain somebody again who shall not be named in this household. And so many other great scenes are in this movie, from the opening sequence, which is one of my favorites from the entire series, or the Stegosaurus sequence, the hunters taking down the Paki and the Para, and possibly other animals off screen as well, and the biker dude going underneath the Mamenchisaurus's legs. No, you normies, stop saying Brontosaurus, okay? Please? Thank you. Good. Namaste. Also, one other thing. Yes, that is a Mamenchisaurus, not a Brontosaurus or a Brachii or an Apata or Zigongosaurus or whatever. Or at least that's what all the other material outside of the film says, because the movie characters never actually say that. And I always found it cool seeing these humongous sauropods in the film, and yeah. What else is there to be said about this movie? I love, again, all different kinds of scenes and plot lines. It's also incredibly atmospheric and relaxing at times, but at the same time, it's exciting and exhilarating, and it gets your pump rushing through your body, and I absolutely love that so much. And the way the film is shot is, I'd say, maybe even superior to the original, I must say. And that's saying something, considering how amazing and impressive and spectacular the first movie's cinematography is. The music is also awesome and iconic. So many little snippets of sound cues from this film are often used in other pieces of Jurassic Park media. And I obviously really adore that. Like, I believe when Blue is about to attack the Indominus Rex, yeah, I believe that little clip from The Lost World was also used in that scene. Just such an awesome movie. The effects as well are awesome. The visual effects, surprisingly enough, despite what Nostalgia Critic says, look far superior to the first movie's ones. I'm sorry, but even when I was a kid, I always kind of didn't feel super amazed at the Brachiosaurus sequence. It's still an amazing scene, and I love it so much. But in retrospective, the animation, or should I say visual effects, are a little bit too glossy, plasticky kind of. They don't really look quite right. And if you want a good example of this, look at the difference between these two. This is probably Jurassic Park, and this is The Lost World. Perfect showcase of the quality of the visual effects as time goes on. And again, that's not to diss Jurassic Park or whatever. Not to mention the fact that Talon Marcus Krentzler isn't actually that bad. Probably the only reason why he's the only Thailand stock car that I own. Or at least, the only one I want to acknowledge that I own. Thailand Speedy Comet. And obviously, it's not just the visual effects, but obviously the lighting and everything else about that, and the shading on the visual effects looks awesome. The sound design is incredibly intimidating, from the puddles, constantly rippling, and hearing the thuds and the footsteps, and the various raptor sound effects, and the T-Rex roars far away, like when they're up in the high hide and you hear that. Yeesh! That's bone chilling. And when Ian Malcolm goes down the rope and he's climbing through the woods and everything like that, man, what a brave soul. I love that. And I love Ian's character development from the previous film, the last one. He obviously isn't the same smart mouth talking person he was before, trying to hit on people. He's a lot more matured, a lot more, not really egotistical, but a lot more sarcastic when it comes to this kind of stuff. And I honestly like that, instead of it being a rehash of how he was in the first movie. Characters change over time, and I appreciate that with this movie. And so many other various sound effects that I also love, like the Mamenchisaurus's calls and the Paki and the Para and the Stegosaurus sound effects. The puppets and animatronics are also really excellent in the film. From the little compies, which also have excellent scenes, like what's his face, Dieter Stark's death. Deserved it, you bastard. Um, and what else? The T-Rex animatronics also look awesome. I believe there were some Raptor ones used. I'm not exactly sure. I may be wrong. But yes, there were. At least when the one got spiked and got kicked out the window. At least that. That's like the only ones I can think of right now. And maybe, oh, and when they were climbing from underneath the thing. Like, and fun fact, when I was at a campground years ago, Rifle River here in Michigan, I often go there from time to time. I don't think it was at Rifle River. It was me and a bunch of kids were at the playground, and there was this little area where it's this fully sealed off fence area, kind of, that's like a wall, and there's sand all over the ground of the playground. And we would be digging underneath this little wall here. You can go around it, obviously, but we were digging through there to make like a little tunnel from the bottom and through that. And it was basically a big little reference to the Lost World sequence. I wasn't lying when I said that this movie has a huge impact on me, and I really do adore that. Admittedly, there are a few problems with this film. There's a few questionable things, like the whole T-Rex on the ship and the guys being dead or whatever on the ship, despite the T-Rex being locked away and not really damaging much of the area. But there are stuff to, back that whole thing up and explain it. I believe raptors attacked the boat, to be honest. That's my headcanon. Either that or the T-Rex burst through the area, but you just simply can't see it. But anyways, it really doesn't matter that much. Then there's also some pacing issues from going from the island to the mainland. Also, the Kelly kicking the raptor sequence is admittedly dumb, but at least it is payoff, at least. At least it's good, satisfying payoff. Something that for some reason a lot of really bad movies, for some reason, just can't seem to get right. Bring up random elements and never paying them off properly. Especially a lot of B movies, which this movie definitely is not one of those. Please stop considering it that. Jurassic Park 3 is debatable in that category, but I wouldn't even call it that either. Show some more respect for a franchise that you care about, guys. But, what else? There was also the editor's chopping block thing that people like Shinobi03 have brought up. For example, there was a sequence where a drunk Peter Ludlow ends up breaking the poor baby T-Rex's legs, as well as plenty of other things that explain various scenes. And honestly, I really wish that the Peter Ludlow being drunk thing, breaking the T-Rex's legs, was left in there, so that way that people would respect Pete Postle, whatever his name is. What is his name again? I'm so sorry, I forgot. Finally, it came to me. Robert Muldoon. That's right. Am I right? It's been a while since I've watched the Jurassic Park movies, just simply because I want to avoid any kind of Jurassic Park 3 spoiler stuff. So I've kind of mixed together a lot of the names, like Dieter Stark I had to think of for a second, Muldoon, Ajay, Peter Ludlow, etc. You get the idea. Names are all getting mixed up. Look at Jeff and Ian. I got those backwards somehow. Are you kidding me? But anyways, I love this character. He is awesome. Every scene he's on is incredibly intimidating. Pete's acting was incredible, and it's such a shame that they can't bring this character back because Pete passed away. Rest in peace, you good soul. If you're watching this in heaven right now, just know that you are an awesome guy. Also, there was that one bar scene, and I don't know, wherever it takes place, Mexico, somewhere, I don't know, where we see more of the gray side of Pete's character. I really like that. And I really wish that more of these scenes were left in, so that way more audience members would realize just how awesome he is instead of a villain or whatever, which I don't view him that way at all. He's definitely a lot more caring and shows sheer compassion for his men as well. And also the little detail of him being pulled away. No, I'm sorry, Ajay being pulled away as he's trying to stop him from shooting the buck, basically. And man, what an awesome sequence that is as well. I love that too. And also the scene where the snake crawls down Burke's neck as well, despite it being a harmless snake. A milk snake, I believe? What? I can't remember what it was called. But yeah. And also Peter's death as well. And again, another reason why I wish the deleted scene was also left in. So that way when Peter gets his leg gnawed on and everything like that, and is pretty much obviously broken, it's a callback to when he broke the baby T-Rex's leg. It's perfect. And yet again, some executive or whoever is responsible for cutting out scenes that would have made it even better. Dang it, people. With this and Poseidon and a bunch of other things, stop cutting out all the good scenes that keep the movie Afloat. I know I'm complaining and all when I shouldn't be, but still, that's more so directed at people who are fiddling with stuff. It's annoying. I hate it. Anyways, yeah, I love this movie. I don't have any toys of it. I don't think I may have a few or something somewhere, but yeah, this movie is just awesome. I really do love it, and I can rewatch it at any time, and I just adore it so much. And I know a lot of other Jurassic Park community members love it too, like Clayton Furedy, I assume RX Rampage, and William Anna.exe, and a ton of other people. We all adore this movie. Shinobi03 does as well. Oh, and how can I forget to mention the one certain sequence? Yeah, boy, what a dark scene that is, seeing Eddie Carr getting killed. Yeesh. But still, happy birthday to Lost World. You deserve every bit of recognition you get.